Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 360 Stacks and this thing, baby, representing TKOG. And today I'm coming at you guys with the duel. I decided to test an Invoke SHADDOLL variant. I don't really play this variant a lot. I gotta say, anything that involves SHADDOLLs, you know I'm all about it, baby. So I decided to test Invoke Dogmatica SHADDOLLs. My variant is 50 cards because there's just certain cards that I really did not want to play at either a certain ratio, or I didn't want to take them out and not play them at all. Especially my Falco. Falco's my guy. Falco's so good. So here we have me on 50 card Invoke Dogmatica SHADDOLLs versus my opponent Alex on 40 cards ZOODIAC ELDLICH. Let's go ahead and fast forward because I believe I won RPS and my hand was actually really nice. But let's talk about it. Can we talk about it? Let's talk about it. All right. So opening hand for my opponent. If I see ZOODIAC ELDLICH, I'm not gonna lie, I get really happy and I just get really confident because I ain't gonna lie, bruh. I don't know about y'all, but SHADDOLLs just don't lose to ELDLICH. Like, they just don't. Like, I'm sorry, Simo, you have never been right about that statement. SHADDOLLs just don't lose to ELDLICH, and they just don't lose to ZOODIACs. Even with Zeus. Zeus does very little against SHADDOLLs, because even when you're sending my cards to the grave, they all get their effects. You can prevent me from building a board, but I can just SHADDOLL Fusion into Op Cologne, force the Zeus to activate, and then just get a Schism for my troubles. It's just, there's SHADDOLLs by themselves, even just pure SHADDOLLs with nothing splash, beat ELDLICH and ZOODIAC, even combined in an archetype. So I ain't gonna lie, bruh. SHADDOLL spanked those cheeks, but his hand is amazing. Without a hand trap, it's amazing against SHADDOLLs. Not gonna lie. Against SHADDOLLs, you'd rather have like equalizers sometimes than hand traps. But granted that my hand is what it is, his hand is pretty amazing just for the simple fact that he has access to Golden Lord. If it wasn't for Golden Lord, his hand wouldn't be that great. And this also just giving him another way to see like Droplets or Gold Spell or Cyclone if he plays it. Any of those cards would be really good to stop a Winda or a Construct or Op Cologne. But if he didn't have Golden Lord in his hand would be terrible. Because Golden Lord could send my Fusion off if he wanted to. That's the only reason why I would say his hand's good. If he was playing against Combo, it was like Dragon League. I don't know, bruh. One Heretic Seal is spanking those cheeks. So now my hand is Alistair, L, SHADDOLL Fusion, and thank God I drew a SHADDOLL. I think in this list I played 13 or 14 SHADDOLLs, and then I drew Ash. So my hand is like, okay, it's not the best, but if I'm going second, it's amazing because I have a hand trap. I have SHADDOLL Fusion. I also have a way to force negates with Alistair and L SHADDOLL Fusion. And obviously I have this for just like the last card I would play, just a Bombshell. So hands are really good on both ends. So my Alistair resolves, and the play I have in mind is to make a Construct before I make Makaba because I have to banish this and I don't want to lose that light. So I actually opt for a Construct play because I have Aerial, and thank God that it was a SHADDOLL that could activate. If it was like Dragon, it would be worse because I couldn't chain block because he might not Ash the Alistair, which wouldn't make sense why he would hold his Ash because Alistair makes Makaba, which means your Ash gets negated. But just in case, because you never know, these people are crazy, it could be a Gamma or something, I still decide to chain block my Construct to play around the hand trap, just out of respect. So I make Construct, I say Aerial 2, target L. That implies that Construct is Chain Link 1. We did have a bit of a little dispute. I'm not going to lie, this person that I'm dueling against right now, not my favorite person in the world, to be honest, bro. There's quite a few things that he did personally that I not only disagree with, but I just find it just like, there's just a lack of sportsmanship on his end. Because I'm really not trying to like be the person to throw salt on his name or nothing like that. But he just had a really like poor sportsmanship or just a lack thereof. And then also he did try to rule shark me. And also talk to me sideways and disrespecting me. But I ain't gonna lie, it didn't really matter because I still clapped his cheeks anyways. So we have, because I 2-0'd his butt. So I was like, you know what? My best revenge is to not respond and to still spank you. So it's resolving. And so here, he doesn't rule shark me there, but this same thing that I'm doing, he's gonna try to rule shark me again. Because if you guys notice, I didn't declare Construct, but he didn't say anything about it because when I play, almost everybody I play on Dueling Book understands what I mean. I just don't want to type. I just don't feel like wasting the time of typing every name and effect, especially if it's long effects like a long sentence effect like I just sometimes don't want to type the name, so I just tell them what the highest chain link is, because the lower chain links are so obvious that they're under there. So when I said aerial 2, that means construct is 1. But if I guess me not declaring construct, he could say, oh, you don't get to activate construct. But to be honest, that kind of stipulation just turns into a minor ruling error, and you get a minor warning, and the judge will more than likely just tell you, hey, just tell your opponent next time what your chain links are. It doesn't change anything. So just a lack of verbiage on my part. So I make my, notice how I made my Macabre first before I go into Gravity Controller. The reason being is because since I've already respected Ash and Gamma, now I need to respect Skullmeister, Ghost Bell, and Gamma. So I need to also respect DD Crow. So that's why I actually summon my Macabre before I attempt Construct to add Schism. And if you guys are wondering why I went for Schism, I did not have enough doll names for El Shaddol to be like usable. Like if I make this and send El Shaddol Fusion and add it back, what am I gonna do with it? Nothing. There's no Shaddolls in my names in my hand. So Schism was actually my best bet, because like sometimes before Schism came out, I would in these situations where I couldn't fusion, I would dump Rest Shaddol Incarnation and add it back so I can loop Construct for advantage and just build my resources that way. But seeing as Schism means multiple constructs and the versatility of basically having an Op Cologne access when needed, or even Winda, because I am getting Gravity Controller up, Schism was my best choice. I don't like the hands when I only can choose Schism, but this was just one of those hands where Schism was not only the best choice, but the only viable option for me to get multiple options for my interruptions and not just constructs. So pausing here, my ending board is Schism, Gravity Controller, Macabre. This board, whenever I play Shaddolls, you guys, if you follow me since, especially a lot of Shaddol players started following me after the structure deck came out a year ago, I never ended on scary boards with Shaddolls. Sometimes I had a Winda, but that was like the scariest things about my boards. Maybe I had a Dweller. I've never made combo boards with Shaddolls. My boards are always really simple. The only thing I like to do with my Shaddolls is I like to use my Construct as my toolbox, because I basically have a way to add my spells and traps to hand by dumping them from my deck to my grave off Construct and adding them back off Construct. So that's like the only thing I like to really do turn 1 with my fusion spells if I have them. If I don't have a fusion spell, then I'm just like setting a doll and I'm having my hand traps and whatever back row I drew for that turn, like if it's a Schism or whatever, I just kind of play it that way. And simplified game state, Shaddolls are always going to thrive. So this board might not look very like scary or anything, but I have a Schism, which leads to a multitude of follow-ups and a snowballing factor. It can turn into an OTK just on the second time it resolves because Construct's so good. And I have Macabre to protect my Schism from Ghost Spell or Cosmic Cyclone because I have a spell in hand if need be. So this hand's pretty nice. I mean, this opening's pretty nice. And now he's getting ready to activate Cursed. I notice how I do not negate the activation. So let's pause for a bit since this is commentary and a lot of people want to kind of like understand why I do what I do when I play this deck. Because I could just sit here and just say everything that's happening and not explain why I did that. I could just say, oh, I don't negate with Macabre, but then you guys would want to know, why didn't you negate the Cursed Eld Land? One thing is, negating Cursed Eld Land would deny Golden Lord access if they didn't already have it. So it does deny them the ability to grind by adding every turn, but the Eldritch cards don't scare me. They don't. Like when I'm playing Shaddolls, if they don't have a supplemental engine, then I know I don't have to really do anything to stop the Eldritch cards. Because Conquistador and Wakero don't really do a lot to my deck. They really don't. This one has the most impact, but it still doesn't stop me from playing. You can't possibly banish all 3 of my El Shaddol fusions and still banish my Schism too. I'm always going to have fusion plays no matter what. So the Eldritch cards don't scare me. So that's one of the good reasons why I never use my negates on Eldland. So what I want him to do is I actually want him to use his Golden Lord to force my Macabre, because once Golden Lord's engraved, I can banish that hole with my Construct, and I want to do that because if he's on 1 Golden Lord, then I'm taking that Golden Lord out the duel. So that's all the reasons why I did not negate Cursed, because you guys see I have a spell. And notice how I didn't negate Prosperity. When people show me only one part of their deck, especially if it's Eldritch or Invoke cards, and they activate a card like this, I don't like ashing it because I want to see what's in their deck. Even if they don't show me, like if let's say for example those cards are not in their hand right now, but just the simple fact of them showing me the cards they play in their deck gives me information for post-siding. Because let's say he scooped right here and he didn't reveal the rest of his hand. At least that prosperity might have gave me a little bit of information that I might just need when it comes to side decking. So it's a lot of little things that make a huge difference. And I'm telling you guys this because you're going to learn from me just from watching me duel and hearing my commentary on it. So now he goes Golden Lord. I do negate it because I want my Macabre to stay. I just want it to stay. Because if Macabre doesn't die now, you know, because I don't know that he, you know, obviously like what he's planning to do, but I want my Macabre to stay. So I opt to negate that, and I have a minor discrepancy in the terms of understanding my rulings, but I had to teach myself in this duel how Macabre works is if a card activates and he negates the activation, but the card is not in the place that it activates, it does not get banished. He didn't tell me this. I didn't look it up on the ruling. I didn't call a judge. It kind of just clicked like in a matter of moments where I was like, oh, you know what? That makes sense. I'm not even gonna argue with them because I said Macabre banishes. You know, we'll skip a little bit further. He explains to me. Well, he did kind of say it in a rude way, but I was just like, whatever, bro. Like I'm not about to argue with you. So I say response is okay. I was like, it's banished. He said, no, it's not. Learn rulings. That right there is unnecessary. But people on DB are like this, and you just gotta like just not feed into that, bro. Like don't let them change your vibe. Don't let them disrupt your flow. Just enjoy the game and have fun. And if somebody want to be salty or somebody want to come at you sideways, bro, it don't affect nothing. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't. So here he goes. I learned that because now I know Lord activates in hand, but because he sends himself to graveyard for cost, Macabre can negate it, but he can't banish him because he's not in the place that he activated. And like I said, this was a self-taught ruling in moment. So now that he put the Lord where I wanted it to be, now I'm gonna Schism. You could even say, oh bro, why don't you just hold your Schism for Winda? Because obviously, you know, he would want to Lord send the Cursed Eldland to summon, and after that, you know, you could still just lock him out in his main phase 2 after he goes normal summon a Zoo, attack with Borbo, main phase 2, you just activate Schism and just, you know, try to lock him out. Then you try to, right? So like somebody could argue that, but to be honest, in main phase your opponent gets priority. So if I did it that way where I just wait, because I know he has Lord, so I know if I summon Winda too early, he'll just attack over it, because even if I ouster, it'll only be at 32. But then if I let him commit to his Zoodiac and then battle in the main phase 2, I basically like wait for him to summon a Zoo. Like no matter what, like he would still be able to end on a Dryden. So like if I did it too early, he could summon a Dryden first, and now he could just wait. You know what I mean? So I actually opt to do this, which I wanted him to do. That's why I said I wanted him to put Lord in grave so that I can go ahead and summon my Construct and dump my Aerial, because I always play more than one Aerial, and banish his Lord and his spells and traps. And you know what else this also denies? My play was really smart, because if he can't use Lord to send Cursed Eldland for cost, so my play solved multiple problems. So my play was very heads up. Not everybody would have done this, but I like what I did here because it was super smart. Not only did I cut him off from access to Lord, but I denied him access to Zeus, which is the only thing he's really going to be able to use to get himself any further. A Dryden with the Conquistador that can't pop is not going to do anything. Even with Whiptail, I have way too much going for myself, and he's not going to win. And he's going to play into my SHADDOLL fusion by ending on Dryden. So he could summon Dryden here and pop the Cursed Eldland. That's totally fine. But that's just, again, for me, I don't mind him wasting those resources. So my play was really heads up again, because now he has to make Dryden, and he has to pop Curse, and then he has to stack another Zoo, and then he has to go to battle phase and attack. So you get what I'm saying? It doesn't make a huge difference, but all those little incremental things, those small factors, they all add up, and they make a big difference in the long run. And so he stacks a Zoo, goes to battle phase and attack. And let me go down here. So he, funny enough, didn't even read his own card. So you guys remember earlier when he told me learn your rulings? And then he didn't even read his own card, bro. This is what I'm talking about. Dueling book duelists, bro. Dueling book players. This is the stuff I'll be talking about. They act so smug, like they're so good at the game, and they will argue with you about rulings and then not read their own cards, bro. It's actually tragic. So fast forwarding. So I did, you know what, I'm not gonna lie, that was a bit petty of what I said. I shouldn't have said that, but I already said it and I can't take it back. I said learn to read your cards, and he was like, yep, just notice. I'm pretty sure I said that for the simple fact that he told me learn rollings, but I should not have said that, to be honest. It wasn't worth it. Shouldn't even feed into it. And now game 2, you saw my hand was not that great. I had Windy. So if when you don't draw fusion spells, Windy and Hedgehog are your best friends because they lead to your follow-up. Squamata does not. It just pops unless your opponent sends it to grave by an effect. So my opening is like Schism, Windy, Ash. It's still really good against Zoodiac Eldlich because, for one, not only can they not OTK you, but there's no way this deck does not play into Shadoll Fusion. Because Eldlich can't beat Shadolls by themselves, they need the extra oomph that the Zoodiacs give you. So even though I'm passing on a Windy, and believe me when I say it, some people might say 2021 sending a Shaddoll is bad. No, bro. Sending a Shadoll is good. It was good 7 years ago, and it's good now, especially when it's a Windy. It leads into a multitude of follow-ups. This could go into a Hedgehog, and truth be told, when I resolve Windy on my first turn, I always summon Hedgehog. I see a lot of Shadoll players summoning Beast. I personally summon Hedgehog for my follow-up so I can search Shadoll Fusion. And by summoning Hedgehog, it makes people nervous because now they know Shadoll Fusion's coming. So if they don't have a response to the Hedgehog or the Fusion, they don't want to play into it unless they can OTK you. So it's just a bit of mind games. I don't Ash's Prosperity again. I just hold my Ash for either Sanguine, or I hold it for a like a Tinky, like a Zoo starter or a Barrage. I mean, when you Ash Tinky or Barrage, they normally always have a Zoo, but might as well cut off their follow-up Zoo so they're only playing with that one Zoo, so you know they have no more Zoodiacs in hand, potentially. So now he goes Cursed, he sent off my Schism. Smart, man. Definitely smart. If he sent Windy, it just would have been worse, because then I would have been able to Schism. Because if he sent Windy, Windy's effect summons, I can now Schism after that, and that's just really bad for him. So he goes Cursed to add Conquistador. If I was him, I personally would have added Wakero, and I would have just shotgunned my Wakero in draw phase just to banish the Schism so I don't have to worry about it in case my opponent was playing one. Just little things that make a huge difference, because Conquistador can still pop it, but I think my play was better by getting Wakero. So I can immediately banish this before, or even when my opponent attempts to access it, I can chain Wakero to banish it. I just don't think he knows the Shadoll matchup too well. So he Tinkies, that's where I ashed. It's fine, he has another Zoo, but at least he doesn't have a second Zoo in hand. So he remembers his Curse this time, he sends it off Lord, but I'm gonna say it like a Billy Goat. Bad boy, you bad Yu-Gi-Oh player. You never send the second Lord, that was bad on your part. If anything, you just don't activate Curse Eldlin. You never send Golden Lord off of Curse Eldlin when you already have a Golden Lord. That right there, that was a no-no. That was a big no-no. You know I play Ariel in my deck, and you know Sanguine can only get one of those Lords out grave. Why are you playing yourself? Why are you playing yourself? Let's go, fast forward here. So battle phase, he attacks the Windy. Obviously Windy's gonna summon Hedgehog, and now that makes him Zeus. If he doesn't Zeus now, he's gonna have to get punished for that. So he Zeus's now. That's another reason why you guys have no idea how much pressure a Hedgehog puts on your opponent. That's why I really love playing this card at 3. If I could get away with it, just 2, just for space. But this card is so good because when it is set, your opponent knows what's coming, and they have to get it off the field by card effect because Shadoll Fusion is just way too broken. And if your opponent doesn't have the response, Shadoll Fusion just nail in the coffin. So he had to Zeus there. I'm sure he didn't want to because he wanted his Golden Lord to stay on field, because now he's playing deeper into Ariel. Like, he has Sanguine access, which means one of the Lords can get, won't get got. But the simple fact that I summon Hedgehog, also you guys are seeing what I was talking about when I don't summon Beast off Hedgehog. I just don't. I don't summon Beast off Windy. I summon Hedgehog. And now because I summon Hedgehog, he had to put his second Lord in grave because he knows he cannot afford for me to search Shadoll Fusion on my next turn. So let's go ahead and fast forward. You guys are learning from me. Hog search Windy. I'm like, it's fine. So he passes, and oh, right here, this is where it gets juicy. It gets really juicy. This duel gets so good. It was going to be a bit grindier. I was going to have to set a Windy, and it's okay. Like, even just setting Windy, it's going to be hard for him, because if he sends it off Zeus, I summon Hog. Now he has to send it again. That forces all the Zeuses, and he's just playing Baby Eldlich, and that's not going to game shot me in any way, shape, or form. So he's passing on Sanguine with Conquistador and Droll and Zeus. Not gonna lie, this is actually really good. Like, this is really good. Look, think about it. Think about it, you guys. This man has a Zeus with 4 materials, 2 sins. He has Sanguine and Conquistador. So he has a Pop, Lord Access, and he has a Droll, and he has a Zeus. And all of this is about to get disrupted by one SHADDOLL fusion resolving. It could have been any fusion spell. This is why I tell you guys all the time how powerful fusion spells are in this deck. You don't have to play so many to the point where you're desperate for it, but you want to play enough in a 60 card variant. That's why, like, if I was playing 40 card SHADDOLLs, I would just play 3 normal SHADDOLL fusion, 3 L, and then 3 super poly. It would be fine. But because I play 60 cards, I have a lower chance of seeing those. That's why I play other fusion spells, because you're not literally desperate to the point where if you don't see a fusion spell, you lose, but you want a higher chance of opening them because fusion spells do stuff like this. This plays cracked right here. Watch this. Bruh, watch this. So I'm sending Windy and Ariel. And so I say Opcalone 3, and then I tell him what my targets are with Ariel. So I go Opcalone 3, target Zeus, and then I say Ariel, target both Lords, and combo. He doesn't have 5 yet engraved for combo. So he can't do the combo yet. And so what is this doing? This is going to force Droll after I search, because he's going to Droll in Resolution. This is forcing him to shotgun his Zeus. And because he's shotgunning his Zeus, because it's getting permanently negated, it's forcing him to shotgun his Sanguine, because I'm using Ariel to target Lord, and combo. So what happened off one SHADDOLL fusion? Everything got flipped. All his cards hit the table, and I haven't even got started yet. I'm just working my way to it. So this is not the finish line, baby. But he has to send all of these off. He could just not negate. He could just not send off Zeus, but I think he just did it just because. Because if I was him, it wouldn't make a difference whether you send Opcalone or not, because I can just link it off Gravity Controller. But he's just doing it, I guess, just because he might as well do it unless, or he won't get another chance. So here, the chain link resolves. So when I say Opcalone 3 and I told him my targets off Ariel, that already, you know that Windy and Ariel are in the chains. Otherwise, Opcalone wouldn't be chain link 3. Then he chains Zeus and he chains Sanguine. Now I know I don't have to worry about Nibiru and stuff like that. I can just go for game. And then here, he tries to rule shark me. He says you didn't declare Windy. Now, game 1, did I declare Construct, you guys? No, I did not. Did he tell me you didn't declare Construct? No, he did not. But now that he's in a position where he's going to lose, now he decides to try to rule shark me. Because he's trying to say, because I didn't declare Windy, I don't get her effect. So here's what's going to happen, you guys. Again, it's just, like, it's just, it happens. It's dueling book, you guys. People call judges for less than this, to be honest. And so he says, you didn't declare Windy. I say, bro, I said Opcalone chain link 3. She is in the chains. Obviously, she is in the chains. I don't have to say her name. For me, personally, it's common sense. It's just when you play another duelist, especially when I play good players, I don't even tell them what the rest of the chain, like what names are in the chain, because they know what names are in the chain. They can just add up. 3 means 3. That means there's 2 under effects under Opcalone. If I did this against any like good player, they would know Windy's in the chain, and they would just respond to chain link 3 or let everything slide. That's just how it works. But again, real sharking. So she is in the chains. I declared targets for Ariel because I have to. Because if it was like something that didn't target and it was just Falco, for example, and Windy, I would just say Opcalone 3. That's it. Because you know Falco and Windy are in the chain. Otherwise, Opcalone wouldn't be 3. He said, you didn't declare Windy, simple as that. And this is the same dude that was talking to me crazy. And then I said, chilling 3, Opcalone, simple as that. And then he calls judge. So I'm like, all right, the judge is going to sign. This is what's going to happen. I know for facts right now that there's nothing that he can say to the judge that will make the judge say, Team Kings of Games, you don't get your Windy effect, unfortunately, because you didn't declare it. Because I obviously already stated the chain link goes up to 3. So all the judge is going to tell me is, and this stuff will happen to you in real life, you get minor warnings for stuff like this where all they do is just tell you, do better next time. They don't say, right now, this is it, you lose the game, go back to game, start siding or anything like that. You get a minor warning, and they just tell you, just don't do it next time. Stuff like this. So all the judge is going to tell me is, Team Kings of Games, next time you do this, make sure you state what names are in the chain link. And that's totally fine. You know, that's all right with me. And his problem is not the fact that I said Windy. His problem is that he doesn't want Windy to resolve, so he thinks that he's going to get the judge to basically tell me that it doesn't resolve. And I said what I said to you guys. I basically, right here, I'm just telling them, how come you didn't say this wasn't a problem for you in game 1 when I didn't declare Construct and you still let Construct resolve? Because I said Ariel 2, but now it's a problem, and I know why it's a problem now. So you guys get what I'm saying? Like, you could say, oh, 3 stacks, he doesn't mean no harm, but the fact of the matter is, if you let it slide in game 1, why is it a problem now? You get what I'm saying? So if it was really a problem to him, he would have spoke up about it game 1. He would have said, why aren't you saying Construct's name in the chain link? But now that it's in this situation, his whole board's getting dismantled, and Wendy's about to resolve, he's trying to rule shark, and I'll tell you guys. So he says, opponent resolves Wendy without declaring it, yada yada yada. I just explained myself. The judge says, you declare all your effects. Now rewind the game state so you can declare your proper chain. I said, so we're rewinding to before I activate L. And he said, we were rewinding to when you declared Al Capone chain link 3. So we reset the game state. So guess what, you guys? After my opponent had to sit here and wait, I think we waited for like 10, 15 minutes. If I'm not mistaken, let me check how long we waited. Let me just check. So let me go to where he actually called the judge. And then let's see how long it took. Because I don't even remember how long we waited. It wasn't ridiculously long, but let's see. So, oh, whoops. I skipped past that, so. Zeus, blah, blah. Second Kisador. Oh, we're getting to my turn now. Oh, okay, so he called the judge at 15 minutes, 17 seconds. The judge comes... yeah, 10 minutes later. So he wasted 10 minutes. Just in all that my opponent gets out of this is just for me to have to literally say Wendy. Literally. That's all that he gets out of this. The only thing he gets out of calling a judge and wasting 10 minutes of our time is he gets me to type the word Wendy. That's it. It's sad, bruh. It's absolutely sad. So fast forward, we reverse the game state and we go back. And so here I say Op 3, target Zeus. Wendy 2, Aerial 1, target Lords in combo. So he does the same thing. And I'm glad he did, because if he would have changed what he did, that wouldn't have been okay either. Because when you reverse the game state, you can't change the decisions that was already made. You just reverse the game state so that you can find the discrepancy and solve the problem. And so then I say, now separate chain op, APK. And he's trying to, this is again the disrespect, he's trying to be funny. He's like, PK, Phantom Knight, separate. And I say, now separate chain op. This is simple. It's a yes or no. Separate chain op. And I say op cologne. And he's like, what do you want? I'm like, op cologne is activating in a second chain. You sent it to the graveyard. Like, I don't even know why he's even doing this. And so he says, just say F op cologne in graveyard. What the F? I'm just like, and then again, it's like, what? Like, what is up with this guy, bruh? I'm like, what is up with this guy? Like, to be honest, like, why are people like this, bro? Like, this, all of this is unnecessary. You literally know what I'm saying. I said separate chain op, and then you're telling me what to say, but separate chain op and effective op engrave, like, what's the difference, bruh? So I add SHADDOLL Fusion, I discard Dragon, he draws me, I activate SHADDOLL Fusion, and then he scoops. I didn't get the chance to say GG, but that was game. I already have Schism, so this SHADDOLL Fusion is going to do a lot of damage. Like, this Zeus is negated. What are his follow-ups? These. And I'm telling you right now, there's no way he's beating me with Eldritch cards, and with only one Golden Lord. So now all I gotta do is send that Golden Lord to grave off Schism and send another Aerial, and he's playing ZOODIACs for the rest of the duel, y'all. And ZOODIACs cannot be ELDLICH. I mean, ZOODIACs cannot be SHADDOLLs, especially because Windows says you can't even summon Zeus, and if you summon Zeus, all my cards plus, so what are you really doing? But anyways, that's gonna be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys learned a bit more on how to play SHADDOLLs and how to sequence your cards, properly navigating, and also, just in general, you guys got to see me play SHADDOLLs again, which I feel like a lot of people always want to see that. But our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Lord Jesus Christ. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not to temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. In the mighty name of Jesus I pray. Thank you, Father. Amen. Woo! Let's go. 2-0, baby. Deuces.